Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Culture Corner. We are joined today with our recurring co-host, B. What it is, B? What's up?
What do? What's up, everybody?
Yeah, we're here for another episode. So, girl, let's just get into it. This last Airbender, because we were just talking about this. Are you excited?
No, truth,
Why not?
truth be told, I am not excited because I know I'm gonna get disappointed
But
heavily.
yeah,
Like,
Netflix is coming out with Avatar: The Last Airbender. Its remake. I think it's this week.
is
Is it
it?
this week? Yeah, there's because they posted something on Twitter that said one more week. So next week it should be coming because it's like the 22nd. So I think that's like Flex Friday. So it should be coming soon. And the first, I'm not gonna lie, the first trailer they had me. It looked interesting. I love the actor who plays Uncle Iroh. I'm always interested to seeing Daniel Day Kim do Fire Lord Ozai. So I was interested. I was
They had us
interested.
fooled. No cap.
Yeah. And everything I've learned after that trailer is just gone downhill. The direction that they're going, I do not agree with. I mean, they're really trying to melt down like a 14, 15, maybe even 18 episode series or season into like 8 episodes, which is not going to work. Let's be honest. And
Wait. How many?
there's like 18 episodes in the first season of Avatar, the
Yeah,
original.
in the book one.
Yeah, there's like 18 episodes, 14
Mm-hmm.
maybe. I know that there's at least 14.
So
So
are they gonna explore the other books, or are they just gonna stick with book
I
one?
think they're gonna keep it to book one
Nah,
because they're
boring.
really trying to make it a remake.
I want
But
to see Aang fight Fire Lord Ozai, man. Come on, man.
you're gonna have to. I guess you're gonna have to watch the show, but
Like, what's
please
the point
don't,
of casting Fire Lord Ozai, anyways?
because they wanted to show the. I watched this whole thing where the director or like the creators were like discussing the first trailer, and so they're gonna get into more of like the Fire Lord history or like the Fire Nation history into season one. Like, so there's gonna be like a lot of stuff that wasn't even part of book one, basically.
So just making it up essentially.
Yes, 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 yes. Like it's not giving. It's not giving. Like
Well, you know what? You know what? Let's give Netflix a break, right? What about the didn't he do other remakes? Didn't he do a One Piece fucking remake?
yes, and
And like, was that one good? Like, sorry, I don't watch One Piece.
I didn't watch One
Oh, but
Piece.
yeah.
That's too. It's too many episodes. I'm sorry.
I
First
heard,
off,
I heard, I heard y'all gotta watch like over 1,000 episodes,
it's
and like
still
that's not
going.
a, and that's like even a prequel. It's not even
It's
the real
still
story
going. So I
yet.
cannot. I did that for Naruto. It took me like 5 years to finish Shippuden just because there was like 500
Listen,
episodes.
Naruto's just something I used to have to watch at the
Like,
time.
no, you can get into Naruto.
No, I'm saying like in terms of like with all of like the fillers and the amount of episodes and
I
shit.
mean,
Like,
yeah, there's a website though you can see which episodes to skip, like which episodes are filler. So that's what I did because
nah,
I
suffer through the
can't.
fillers like the rest of us.
No, I can't. I mean, with some shows I could, but like the fact that I was trying to get through it, some of the Naruto filler episodes were just uh. So
You know what fillers I like to see more of, to be honest?
what?
Jujutsu Kaisen. I love
Never
that.
watched it.
What?
That's not my cup of tea.
Why not?
I don't know. Like I don't know. I'm very weird with like the animes that I watch.
Like what type of animes do you watch? Like, what do you say is your genre?
It's it depends. Like I don't have a specific genre. Like because like I'll watch something like Psyche K. I'll watch something like Seven Deadly Sins. I'll watch something like Record of Ragnarok. All these are Netflix originals, mind you. But I also
Oh,
watch stuff like Strangely Law Frontier. It's this anime about this dude who's playing like this video game called Shangri La Frontier, and it's like very interesting. Like it's this whole gaming process, very cool. What else do I watch? I like my classics, like my Naruto. I'm trying to watch. I finished Naruto. I finished Naruto Shippuden. I'm on Boruto. I'm
Wait, so if you like that, why don't you like just have you seen Jujutsu Kaisen?
no,
Oh,
like I just haven't started it before. I've seen Inuyasha. Have you seen Inuyasha?
I like pieces of it.
Do you not like it?
I never really got into it at the time. I was young.
You can get
Now it's
into
not.
it.
Now that I'm older, it has never crossed my mind.
You should. It's
I
like
never
one of the
got down outside of my
classics.
my
It's one of the
TV and been
classics.
like,
Like
oh yeah, let me watch Inuyasha.
it's one of the classics. So what kind of anime do you like?
I mean, I kind of just hop around animes. I mean, I like horror animes for the most part.
Horror animes?
Yeah,
No. See, I used to love magical
I
girl
love another.
animes. Oh my god. I used to be on Pop Girl Z, Mermaid Melody. All of these were like transformation girl things. But I have never watched Sailor Moon.
Hmm. Huh. You think you watched the Blueprint? She
Yeah.
is it. She is the
Yeah.
girl. That is mother.
I don't know how to explain it. Like Powerpuff Girls Z, like when they transformed, like it was just so much more cunt. Like that's all I can
What?
explain. Like you have to watch it. Like Powerpuff Girls Z when they transformed, like they were actually like dripping out real quick. Like and then first of all, Powerpuff Girls Z is literally like the Japanese version of Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
So
I
just
mean,
imagine Powerpuff Girls doing transformation all of a sudden. They have these cool
why?
ass
Wait,
like jackets.
but why
And they're
would the
just going
Powerpuff Girls be doing transformations? They're the
because in the
Powerpuff Girls.
Japanese one, what happens is like so Professor Utonium doesn't necessarily create them in his lab. He does, but what happens is like an accident happens, and then like the chemical reaction like skyrockets, and then it hits like everybody, like all the villains and the Pop Up Girls. So like all the Pop Up Girls, like they're basically not related. They come from different homes, different families, and then they all get hit, and then they become the Pop Up Girls, and all their enemies become the enemy that way. So like say like Sedusa, she's like a beauty salon girl. Princess, I think she is someone who goes to school with the Pop Up Girls, and then like
What about him?
becomes him too. Like he gets hit with it. I think he's actually the stylist, but yeah, it's really interesting. It was really fun. I loved it, and the transformations, like oh my god, and they have like items. So like Blossom had like a yo-yo, and her personality she loved to eat. Blossom had a yo-yo. Bubbles had like this big ass staff, but it was also a bubble blower. And Buttercup had, of course, a hammer, like a big ass hammer. And they do this whole transformation thing, and it's like they put on their little jacket on, they get the little skirt on, they put the little straps on their boots, and they get cut. Like it's so much better. Like I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah.
Yeah.
So the transformation girl thing, I love it, but anyways, let's get back to the
We're rolling it
main
back in.
thing at hand, though. The fact that Netflix is trying to make this remake of a show that didn't need to be remade, honestly. It was perfectly fine. It didn't need to be retouched. It was retouched, and no one liked it. This is very sacred to us, and they're playing with fire.
This man had the nerve to tell us that they trying to make it like the Game of Thrones. I said, oh, we cook.
Yeah, he was like, we're trying to make it appeal to like people who like Game of Thrones, and it's just like, baby, if you just
How?
translate what's on the paper
How?
to the screen and maybe make it a little bit more grown up, people from Game of Thrones will like it.
But I'm like, okay, so we understand Game of Thrones, right? Game of Thrones is like, some deep shit,
Yeah.
and So I'm like, what are you trying to apply to a relatively PG, you know, based show?
The thing about Avatar is it's only PG because like Nickelodeon picked
I'm
it
saying
up.
we gonna see titties.
Like, I mean, no,
No,
but
you
like,
know what? I wouldn't blame Netflix because look at most of Netflix's like releases. They're mostly like MA. So I
yes,
would not put it past them to
but
include
like
titties.
this story doesn't need it. That's like the thing. Like, there's
Of
really
course, it's not needed, but Netflix is.
Like
Netflix.
there would be no place for it. It that would just be a bad take. But in terms of like bringing it to like life, they really like there's some themes. There's a lot of the themes that like could translate really well on screen. But I think it's the fact that they the way that they're trying to do it just how do I say it? It's not it's not translating well. Like they're trying to take out some things and then they're trying to put in other things and it's just they try to explain it as like it's a remix of the original and it's like okay well
We don't need
yeah
remixes.
like and the way that he tried to say is like you need certain parts of the song to be like the same for it to be the same song but it's a completely different thing and it's like yes but there is such thing as a bad remix babes
A lot of bad
a
remixes.
bad fucking remix. And what you're doing is like you're taking out some of the good parts of the song. Like for real, like I shouldn't be seeing on. Hopefully this is false. And if this is part of the second season, you guys have time to change it. But I heard that they're trying to say like everyone in Boxing saying knows that the war is happening. And that first of all, that whole arc is like the most like I want you to understand like one of the most intricate, very detailed, and very serious plot points that has ever been in a kids show. One, let's get that right there. We were kids learning, like we were kids watching a kids show where the government is basically silencing what's going on to their people. You know what I'm
War
saying?
days.
Were they silenced or were they
Sorry.
silenced? The war was silenced in Ba Sing Se, okay? And we as kids were learning about this shit. And it was based on like a real thing that happened in China. I forget what it was, but like it was basically like the government was basically controlling like what the people knew. So that kind
Girl,
of
present day America.
like and that's what I'm saying. That kind of statement in today would speak volumes would speak volumes. And I think that's one of the reasons why they didn't do it because they don't have the balls. This generation doesn't have the balls to put some shit like that in there. But yeah, so but I mean that was still such an important factor into Bossing Say because like that's the whole reason why Jet got hypnotized and forgot about them.
Wait, hold on. I just thought of something too about Boss Sensei, right? If they're already planning season 2 with Boss Sensei, what plans do they have on the journey the gang took to get there?
They're gonna cut it short.
Like Appa missing? Are we even gonna have an Appa?
No, they have to put that plot point. I think that what
That's an important
like
plot.
yeah, that's what's it called? What's
We're
that
gonna we
thing
can we can
called?
see Aang go out. Oh, that's probably where the
That's a definite plot point. You remember from Spider Man? You know, like the that's a definitive point in time. You know, like a
oh.
candid moment. That's a candid
Mhm
moment.
mhm
Yep,
mhm mhm.
like a candid
So
moment.
so they
So
got they
they
gotta
have
show
to because like
the tower.
that like yeah, because like that whole the first of all
So who they
the
got playing
library
Toph? I got questions.
like let's just let's just watch what they have first. Like let's just not get into that. But they have to add out the library because the library was very important, and they have to do Appa missing because that was very important to
They
like
have to cast
story
Toph,
thing.
right?
If they get to the second season, which I hope. I love a lot of the actors in this, but I'm sorry. Netflix is doing the show dirty. I hope it doesn't get a second season.
To be honest, I would hate watch it to the second season.
You know, the way I'm gonna watch it, I'm gonna pirate it. Like I'm gonna go back to the old pirate websites and find it because I'm not gonna watch it on Netflix. So they think that oh yeah it has some hits. No, no. No. But I mean yeah, I guess we'll see about that. We'll see. But I mean by that time that comes out next week. That's like the end of February. I'm waiting for March because I think the week after next Ariana's album comes out, and then the week after that, Beyonce's album comes out, or not the week after that. I think 2 weeks after that.
Oh, she has an album coming out.
Yeah, March 29.
Damn. She about to shake them
Why do you think she's going on tour and everything?
again.
You literally sent that in the group text.
Did I?
Yes.
Damn, this should be frying my brains.
Like, yes, she's going back on tour. Greedy ass woman.
Hey,
My savings
I
account
love it.
just got back together. My savings account just got back together from last
She
year's
is coming
mayhem.
for the
Now
CMAs.
she's doing it.
She is coming for any country music award you can think of. She is gonna run that category.
Like, oh my freaking god.
You can't say it's urban.
Okay.
You can't say it's contemporary. You can't say it's rap, R&B, or hip hop. Nah, baby
So,
girl, this is
you've heard both
country.
singles, right?
I have now heard both singles.
Like, yeah. Okay, so there's one thing that a lot of people have been saying about the new singles, and that is that there's something about Beyonce's voice in there that doesn't sound country.
She's from Houston.
And it's not even the accent. I know some people are talking about the accent, but that's not it. The problem, I don't want to say the problem. I think the artistic decision Beyonce took to layer her voice in the songs is what I think a lot of people are noticing. That is not the country aspect.
What do you mean?
When you listen to country songs, or the country songs that I've listened to, because I'm not an expert in country, but the country songs that I've listened to, there aren't a lot of vocals. Like, there aren't a lot of layering going on. There might be a little bit here and there, and if there is, it's like one or two. Beyonce is this queen of stacks. She loves to stack on stack on stack her vocals. She loves to put them in the back. She loves to put them in the front. She loves adding vocals to her songs. And I think that's what people are noticing. Like, it just needs to be
There's
like
country songs with people with vocals. I mean, granted, maybe not hitting as high in notes. Maybe there are, but
I'm not saying vocals like as in like belting. I'm talking about like stacking your layer vocals. Do you know what stacking your vocals mean?
Girl, no.
Stacking your vocals means like basically you're doing harmonies with yourself and then you put them in the background.
Okay, so what's
So like let me think. You heard Olive Renaissance, right?
Mhm.
So so let's say like when she's singing the beginning of Pure Honey, like how it's just like when she's like just my technique.
Mhm.
That's her solo, versus when she's singing the "Once You Get Me, Idol Baby." That part, her vocals are stacked because you hear multiple Beyonces. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Or even when you hear like the unique, like when you hear unique, it's multiple Beyonces that are saying that. That's not just like one Beyonce.
So she recorded her voice 3 different times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like she harmonizes herself. A lot of artists do it. Like if you pay attention now, you'll hear the harmonies. They're there. Like Ariana does it all the time. Like if you hear an Ariana song, like she's literally always doing that.
So what about that is I guess to say not country?
I'm not saying it's not. They don't do it that much. They don't. Country is very much about the story.
Depending on the country.
Yeah, but like if you listen to a lot of country, they're not stacking their vocals like that. Like let me give you an example. Jolene literally for the whole song, like it's just her singing monotone, and then at the end of the song, she harmonizes. So it is used, but it's at the end, and by the end, she's saying Jolene, and then the song's over.
You gotta listen to more country.
Like,
I mean,
Johnny Cash, God's Gonna Cut You Down. He does not stack his vocals. It's a very
oh my
simple
God.
song.
Okay, what about country music from at least the 2010s?
If you listen to Carrie Underwood's, maybe Before He Cheats, like she's not stacking her vocals to that extent.
My point is that there is surprisingly a lot, not surprising really, of country music artists, and they all have, yes, a similar sound, but obviously there's all going to be those that are gonna try to separate themselves and have unique sounds with them. So I mean, I guess to my point is that Beyonce is putting herself now into the country category, which I think is very telling of her talent.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's not a problem. Like she did it really good. I like Texas Hold'em. I'm listening to 16 Carriages Down,
I don't like country,
but
you know.
I don't like country either. But as someone who is a Little Monster, as someone who is a Gaga fan, I've been down this road before. I've had to study country before. I've had to listen to the country album before. So like I don't want to say like I'm still like in the front door to country. Like I'm not expert at it at all, but I've been around country. Like I always fucking hear it at work. Well, not
Mhm.
now, but like back in the day, I used to hear it at work all the time.
Mhm.
I used to listen to freaking Gaga do it. I am in the fucking South. Country is like kind of heard in passing. I listen to Johnny Cash a little bit.
Mhm.
I've listened to Jolene. I know a little couple of Dolly Parton songs. You know, I've heard Carrie Underwood do her thing. Like I, I've, I've heard enough. Like I've heard some to at least get an idea. And one thing that I've noticed is like they're not stacking their vocals like that. It's very much like low. I don't want to say low quality, but like in terms of like the effort of putting like 65 freaking harmonies in one part, they're not really doing that. And I think that's what people are hearing when they listen to like the songs and they say like it sounds country, it's like a country beat, it's a country vibe, it's a country thing, but like Beyonce just doesn't sound country. I think that's what they mean cuz like the way she vocalizes on the song is like a very pop way of vocalizing, which isn't bad because it's country pop. But even if you hear Casey Musgrove, High Horse, when you hear in the verses, it's very monotone in terms of
Mhm.
vocal stacking. And so that's what I just hope in terms of the album. Like, she does give us. And I think it's an artistic choice, obviously, like artistically stacking your vocals or not. And but honestly, I kind of hope Beyonce doesn't stack her vocals to the max because her voice is really good. If you heard her at the Renaissance tour live, if you heard her during the first three ballads, she doesn't need to stack her vocals. Like she has enough vocal power to like literally just okay, let me go to the booth, sing this song. Okay, that was good. One good take, send the song off. Like she's that good. And I think country is strip back. Country has a lot of ability to strip back. Like you don't need a lot of instruments. You don't need a lot of things going on. You can just have like four things going and playing. So I just hope that she uses this era as a time to kind of like really show off her vocal skill cuz country has like the biggest like playground for that. Cuz she doesn't need to stack her vocals for every song. I love it too, but I really want her to just be like powerful song. A good example I would like to say, if people want to know what I'm talking about, is like "Sinner's Prayer" by Lady Gaga. Very very monotone. The chorus might have a little bit, might have like two harmonies, two vocals in the background, not too much. Very one vocal driven. I kind of want that for Beyonce as well. And if Miley Cyrus is on it, I'm happy. If Dolly Parton is on it, I'm happy. If Taylor Swift is on it,
She's country again.
no, but she started off as country and it like
Has she
it
ever reverted back to that in her music, or has she stayed more in the pop category?
she did during folklore and then she kind of stopped when she went into Midnights again. So it really just depends on her mood. But if she does this with Beyonce, I don't know.
Oh man, that's gonna break the internet. The Swifties and the Beehive. Oof,
I do
oof.
not know. I do not know. I do
That
not
is
know.
gay.
That's all I'm gonna say is I do not know. I do not know. But yeah, I'm excited for the album. I'm excited to hear what she has to say. I listened to Gaga's album. I listened to Joanne again, and it wasn't that bad. Honestly, there was a lot of parts of it that I enjoyed again. John Wayne was always my shit. Diamond Heart is really good, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But anyways, the reason that I brought us here today. First of all, Valentine's Day just passed.
Mm.
You know, I had to wear a little bit of Valentine's Day. If you're ever listening to this on a podcasting stream or someplace where it's only audio, I'm wearing my Ivy Park, my nice little Ivy crop top, sweatshirt, socks, and slides. You know, I just have to give a little bad for um, Valentine's Day because last time I was here, I gave black for Black History Month. So, you know, giving a little red. But now that Valentine's Day has passed, we're back in Black History Month. And I actually wanted to discuss. There's something. There was this tweet that I read, and it was like the beginning of Black History Month, and it was like Happy Black History Month. If you're black, you get to celebrate the whole month. If you have a black mom, you get to celebrate from the 1st to the 15th or to the 25th, I think. And then if you have a black mom or if you have a white mom and a black dad, you get the 25th to the 29th. And a lot of people were up in arms about that. There was another tweet that was if you have two black parents, like make some noise. And you know, a lot of people love that one. A lot of people love that one. And I was like, oh, if you have four black parents, four black grandparents, make some noise. A lot of dogs were hollering. So I kind of wanted to discuss. How do I even explain this? Discuss what it means to be black. Discuss blackness. So I just wanted to ask.
That's a very, that's a very
It's
Pandora's
it's
box right
yeah,
there.
it's very broad, but
Not even
the
broad. It's just
questions I think the questions will lead us to where we need to be.
Mm.
Okay, so do you think there is a difference between being black and being biracially black?
I gotta think about this one. You know, try and practice to do this whole think before I speak.
That's okay. That's okay. Take your time.
To be honest, I would say it really honestly depends on the environment that you're raised in.
Mm,
Because if we're talking about blackness and people who are biracial, right? If we go to the aspect of like, you know, maybe a black mom, white, or black mom, mixed whatever, father or whatnot, you know, I feel as though that environment would still be kind of similar to an environment of like, say, an all black household. Now, if we're talking about a white mom and a black dad, there might be a little tad bit differences um, in that aspect when it comes to like that kind of culture, you know.
yeah.
But overall, I guess a good question to help clarify my answer for that question would be, what is blackness? What is
Uh,
blackness defined to you?
let's talk about okay, blackness in terms of heredity. Like, are you hereditarily black?
Like, are you like, as in like, can you write off that you are a black person?
Okay, so like let me give you an example. Let's say there's somebody who has a black father
Mm-hmm.
and then a white mom,
Okay.
and they literally just say they're black. Do you claim them as like that's completely sense? That makes complete sense, or do you say like, oh no, you're mixed?
Mm, they're mixed because they're not 100% black. There
Yeah.
is that, you know, when we're talking about race wise, no, they are of a mixed race because they are black
Yeah,
and something else.
yeah. There's a lot of people. If you kind of skim the internet when you like look at these certain topics, there are a lot of like mixed people that will only claim black because of like the simple fact that like the white side sees them as that. So they that's how they see themselves as.
Well, yeah, whatever they identify themselves, that's what it is. If they identify themselves as black, then they obviously are embracing their black side or embracing their black culture. They ought to deserve to be you know referred to as that, obviously. But in terms of like down to like race and genetics, no, obviously they're mixed. Obviously, you're mixed.
I see that. I see that. For me, here's how I look at it. I see black essentially as like a book series.
You have to walk me through that one.
Okay. So let's say there's, and it all depends on context because, like, if we're talking about like black not being a monolith, then there's different books for that.
What do you mean by black as not like a monolith?
Like the way that we say like black people are not a monolith. In terms of that, like we would have to explain like all the differences between black people.
In terms
So
of like
culture,
black Americans versus
yeah,
African Americans
versus
versus.
Haitian. Like not even just like black Americans. Like you would have to like show like black American versus like Haitian American versus Haitian versus African
So
American
the
versus
oh, okay, the diaspora.
yeah,
Okay.
like basically. So like that would be that's like one way to look at it as well. But in terms of race, there's really only two books, but it's still part of the book series. So there's black, and so that's basically what you and me are. Like black mom, black dad, black four black grandparents, hopefully.
Yeah.
Four black grandparents, you know what I mean? Like I mean,
I mean,
it's
my
like
I think my grandfather's some native, but I don't. I think he's all black.
but still, like
Yeah.
even if it's three majority,
He's pretty much black.
yeah, for like us, that's what we are. Then there is book two, the biracial. That is how I see it. There's book one, and then there's book two.
Okay, so how does that? Okay, so bringing it back with that now.
Like how does it connect basically? Um, they're not the same, but they are of the same universe. Does that make sense? Because I'm not gonna sit here and say I feel 100% comfortable saying that me with two black parents in the household is the same as somebody who only has one black parent in the household.
I have one black parent in the household.
Yes, but you are from two black parents.
Yes.
If circumstances were different, there would have been two black parents in the household.
And if circumstances were different and a biracial kid's way, you also would have been fully black or fully
Yeah,
whatever.
but
Yeah.
that's not what the case is.
It's not what the case is.
So what I mean by that is like, and this is just hereditary wise, like this is just in terms of hereditary, not even in terms of like what's happening in the household, what's going on in the household. Like this is just means of like hereditary. Like if you have one, like say me, if I have a black dad and black mom, that's what it is. If you have a black dad and a white mom, or a white dad and a black mom, you're in a different position than I am. Not necessarily all the time. You know, like this is always like a thing, but like you have a person of privilege in the household and can't relate, you know?
Privilege? What privilege?
White privilege. If you come from if you have a white parent, they have white privilege. You have someone who has white privilege in the household. I can't relate.
I mean,
You come from a family that literally benefits from white privilege. I can't relate.
not all the time, but I mean, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But it honestly, it's not as
White privilege is existent everywhere. I'm
it
not
is
saying
there.
that they're rich nepotism babies. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that at all. I'm saying that these people have white privilege. I'm saying that these people, when they get freaking pulled over, they can usually talk their way out of a thing. You know what I'm saying?
The like the mother or
Like
the parent or like the child, the kid.
the white person. This is just in terms of like their identity. Like if you have a white parent, they may not always see the things that we see. And especially if you only have one black parent, it's completely a different dynamic than having two black parents in the household.
Dynamic, dynamic how?
Like the black household dynamic versus
And what is that dynamic?
what happens in that black household. Like let's say a black mom. A black mom has to go through X, Y, and Z in life, and she will have to do with X, Y, and Z to
So okay. So I think I get what you're saying. You're saying that a kid that comes from a household that has two black parents, they are a household that has a little bit more struggle behind them versus a household that may not have come from
yes and no.
like that.
Like struggle not in the way that like oh they might have to do with like more things. It's just like in society, if you're a black person, everything you have to work twice as hard to get half as much.
Right.
And if you have two black parents that are doing that, you're basically seeing like two people work twice as hard to get half as much, where you might not get that experience when you're mixed. You might see one parent doing that, and then the other parent, yeah, they might work hard, and yeah, they might think, but they're white. So, and especially living in a white society, who knows if like let's say like their foot in the door. Like let's say if they just went into a room and like started walking around and started mingling, people probably opened up to them way more, and they were able to do that and like get stuff going quicker just because of the fact that they're white. Whereas say if a black person does that, let's say the person has locks, they think you're a thug. It's
Okay.
harder to get them to get you on your side, which means you have to do more things, which means you have to be twice as good to get half as much.
Okay. Yeah, and I agree with you. So, reeling that back in, what does that necessarily have to do with, a someone who identifies themselves as biracial
Um,
versus someone who identifies themselves as 100% black
it's just the experience.
of
Like
the parents.
yeah, of the household, of the dynamic of the household, of like what you see, like how like especially when you're a child, how your parents interact with everything, how your parents interact with the world is always going to be like how you kind of see the world sometimes. Like
Okay.
so if you are from if you are from two black parents who may have to have struggled or who may have to have done anything, or like even what they say to you, it may not even be what they show you but what they say to you. Like when they tell you you have to be twice as good and half as much, and you hear that from both parents, versus the kumbaya that some people might get, not even just mixed kids but like some people usually from the white world, they'll say you can do whatever you want. No, there's no boundaries. There's nothing holding you back. Nothing. Of course, we all hear that, but like with black people, they say it in a different way. It comes out in a different way. It is shown in a different way compared to white people who are just like, you can do whatever your mind tells you. There's no limit. The sky's the limit. Let's do it. And it's just a different experience. I'm not saying that it's an invalid one, and I'm not saying it's a wrong one, and I'm not saying it's a bad one. It's just a different experience than like the rest of us have. And then not only that, I mean, there are like our bicultural people, but like my parents are both Haitian, so like I come from like a Haitian family. It's very much like one and done. When you are a biracial person, like you have a different identity. Like you are of two cultures, which can be sometimes
Mm-hmm.
a little bit rough to navigate, especially if like they're conflicting or they're very much like opposite of each other. But one thing I always like to say is like a mixed kid is always going to understand a mixed kid. It doesn't matter what they're mixed with, and that's just the fact. You could be Asian or you could be Chinese and Mexican. You're going to be able to relate to somebody who is half black, half white, just because the nuances of being mixed, they're the same.
Yes.
So, and last but not least, one of my other reasons why I kind of feel like they're the same and they're different. Well, I'll also tell you a reason why I think that too. Um, this is more of an analogy. I think this one is like a perfect example. Okay, so sometimes when I go to the buffet, they'll have an ice cream machine, and they'll usually have three flavors. They will have chocolate, vanilla, and mixed. They will not have chocolate and vanilla with black or with chocolate with a little bit of vanilla or vanilla with a little bit or with an ancestry of chocolate. They don't have um uh whatever. It's mixed. We understand it's mixed. It's chocolate vanilla swirl. There's vanilla, there's chocolate, and there's chocolate vanilla swirl.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, it's not to say that you guys aren't the same. It's that you guys are not the same. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But there's still ice cream in the end of the day.
yeah, we're still human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But there's black, there's white, and there's mixed.
I mean, yeah. When you're talking about like, a person's like how they identify race wise, yeah, you know. So let me ask you this then: Would you, would you personally, you don't have to be outspoken about this, but would you feel disturbed internally if someone who had a non-black mother but a black father say the N word and and obviously defend it by saying, "Well, I'm black"? Would that disturb you?
No,
So there's no problem with their blackness then.
no.
There's no problem with blackness then.
The reason why I say this per se is not for. It is for our sake, but it's not for our sake. Cause like between us, like I said, it's the same book series. The book series is black, but it's a different book. So in terms of that, like that doesn't matter. But when we're talking about like say specifics or if we're talking about visibility, yes, there is a difference. Cause like let's say in terms of visibility, if um Halle Berry, if we say Halle Berry is the first black woman to do X, Y, and Z, and this woman is half white,
Mm-hmm.
where does that leave like the especially dark skinned black women who are like from two black parents? Like that's what I'm saying. Like
Well, let
there's
me ask you this: Is Halle Berry black?
yeah,
Then there we go.
but in terms of Hollywood, but here's the thing though, in terms of Hollywood, especially in terms of colorism, biracials are at a higher level to look white. You know, with
So you're talking
biracials,
now about the proximity to whiteness.
yes.
Okay.
I mean, especially if you're mixed, like
Yeah. I
you know,
mean,
that's what I'm saying. So when you have that, and then you have like people in Hollywood, like who are way more, who are way more for people who are closer to whiteness, that does bring a problem because then you start having all these mixed people being the mouthpiece for black people, and then meanwhile these people haven't even experienced the 100 like the full black experience. Like they've experienced some things, but like depending on how mixed you look or how white you look or how black you look, it really is different. Because, like, you could be an Alfred Enoch and you could look black as hell. Look black as hell. People won't even know that you have a white father. Or you could have a Halsey moment and look white as hell and people don't know you have a black father.
Mm-hmm.
And that really does affect, like, things. So, like, let's say, so, like, let's use Halsey as an example. If Halsey is the spokesperson for black people, are we really getting the black experience?
Well, define like spokesperson for black people. Like what?
Like, when they like to, like, let's say, like, let me give you an example. Like, when people like to dream cast people, like, let's say when they like to do, like, their fake little castings. Every time, like, let's say, like, every time they think of, like, a black person, that black person is Zendaya. Oh, let's get Zendaya in this movie. Let's get Zendaya in this movie. Let's get Zendaya in this movie. Because the movie always requires, like, a black girl. Isn't that a problem?
I mean, she's a well-known like A-list actor. You know, like will do what is other girls in her category.
Kiki Palmer?
Okay, what is Kiki Palmer doing?
Nothing, but they don't give her the roles like they do Zendaya.
How do you know that?
Like, because Kiki Palmer discusses it. Okay, Kiki Palmer talks about how she has to audition left and right for roles and stuff like that. Meanwhile, Zendaya, they send her scripts.
Mm.
Shit's coming to her. And no shade, no tea. I love me Zendaya. That Mugler outfit, iconic. She really broke the. Honestly, like, that was really like a moment.
Had her ass up.
That was really a moment. But how do I say this? Like, when Zendaya was first starting, like this was the only thing that she was doing. Like, she was really only giving us looks at the red carpet. And then she started getting scripts and stuff like that straight out of Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Kiki, she had to fight tooth and nail just to get on Fox, just to get on this, just to get there. And yes, she's done so much and stuff, but they did not give Kiki the same opportunities as Zendaya.
Mm.
And there is a clear reason. Like, Kiki is just as talented.
Mm-hmm. She is definitely a trinity.
Low key, I would rather hear Kiki Palmer sing than I would rather hear Zendaya. No shade, no tea. No shade, no tea. So, if we want to even go in the other direction, I love my Virgo sister Zendaya. But Kiki's also a Virgo, so I mean,
Yeah, well,
it's
I
the
mean,
discussion of the Virgos.
yeah, well, I mean, it's well known and very much prevalent that colorism exists in a lot of societies,
Yeah.
no matter where you're actually at. It's kind of actually fascinating, if you think about it.
Colonization, really.
I mean, no, even for I mean, yeah, if because I was gonna go even further back to to when the Indo-Europeans invaded like early India and implemented a caste system. Granted, again, Indo-Europeans, so you know people of lighter skin colors. You know, so but yeah, you know, colorism is very much prevalent in almost every industry if you really think about it. So yeah, no, it definitely makes sense that you know Kiki Palmer and other women of the same caliber, you know, and even new and up and coming, you know, are being pretty much short sighted by the industry over someone of a lighter skin color,
Yep.
because again, you know, when it's down to nitty gritty, you know, blackness is associated, you know, in a much more negative light than obviously white skin. So yeah, going all the way back to black versus biracial, you know, it it definitely does have an effect, yeah, but it also depends on if we're talking about it in that matter too, what your skin color, it's in its proximity
Yeah.
to, you know, the whiteness,
Yeah.
because there are some mixed people like shit fuck, but some people like Logic, and I hate to say that he's mixed, but I guess he is.
He is. Like,
He's bro. His dad is half black.
oh, he's half.
Yeah, his grandfather is black. This man's like 0.25%, but a mix.
See what I'm saying?
He
See what I'm saying?
So obviously he comes out, very, very fair skin, light eyes, light hair, different, obviously, hair texture. Then you have some mixed people, I mean, I can't name celebrities, obviously. But I know
Alfred
there's,
Enoch is like the only one that I could think of that's like mixed but looks black as hell.
because they exist. Blackness exists in every shade. Now, clearly, though, when it comes to the black woman, she can make all the shades that comes to black,
Yeah.
you know, even white.
That's why you'll see like a lot of white people or black people who like are light skinned as hell, but like they both came like they have dark skinned parents. Like I work with a guy like that.
Yeah, like goes black. The black woman, she can make it come out any color, right? And obviously, when there is the color mixing, when the genomes and whatnot, it all depends on your skin
Genotypes.
color. It really honestly does. And obviously, based off of the lightness of your skin color, I want to say that kind of dictates the amount of privilege that you
Yeah.
receive in a society like this.
That goes into colorism as well, but like in terms of like what you said, like the context, like I think it in these types of talks and discussions, it all is dependent on context. So like it's like we don't say this in terms of to like separate anybody from blackness and stuff like that. I just want everybody to understand like what might be happening, or like where they stand in blackness. So like you might be a light skinned person, and so like that means you experience blackness a little bit differently than a dark skinned person.
I mean, to the cops, we still all black.
Yeah, you know what I'm
So
saying.
I mean,
But
like,
let's say someone like
shit.
Logic, no shade, no tea. Someone like Logic, they may not clock him if he has his hat on. If he has like a little cap on or something, he might just look like anybody else, like any
Man, the
other
man,
white
the
guy.
man to walk around looks like
Like,
everybody else.
yeah,
What you
you know what
mean?
I'm saying. If he pulls off a little New York accent, they'll just think he's Italian. You know what I'm saying?
Truthfully,
So that's what I mean. Like, you need to understand where you stand because there's some people who like don't get some things that other black people do, and you need to just be aware of that. Like, let's say Zendaya. Zendaya, honestly, surprisingly, for a woman with a white mom, she came out pretty cool. Cause like Zendaya, she's very aware that she's like a light skinned, like
yeah,
biracial person.
it's all about how you raise
Yeah,
up. It's
and
about
that's
your
why what she
culture and your
talks
environment.
about, she's like when she goes into audition rooms, she tries to get roles that are not necessarily made for black women, but are necessarily made for white women, because she doesn't want to take away like roles from black women that might need them, which is her almost like announcing that she understands where she stands in blackness and moves accordingly. And for that, she shines. She shines. No one in the black community has a problem with her because she's not even trying to do that. And you see, that's what I'm saying. No one even clocks Zendaya has a white mom. We hate white mom biracial babies except for Zendaya. Because why? She knows. She's that girl. She's a Virgo. Like, sorry, Virgos take the cake when it comes to like astrology. But yeah, so that in terms of that, it's just like that's all I wanted. Like that's really the question. I just really wanted to see if I was the only person who kind of like thought that there was almost like a difference, or were we all literally just one blood? It doesn't matter as long as you have one drop of black in you. As long as you got one parent that was black, you're black. You're the exact same. There's no difference. Kumbaya.
I wish we didn't live in such a world where something minuscule as the pigmentation, the amount of pigmentation in your skin, dictates whether or not you're seen as a respectable human being or second class or literally dirt thin.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, right, there is literally child trafficking, slavery, and just inhumane and need of humanitarian aid things happening in countries where, their skin can be about as dark as the dirt. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just it doesn't get the attention that it needs to get, but it makes you think, and it's shitty to think about it. But if this was had to happen with someone who didn't have any pigment in their skin, how quickly a response would be made, you know. So it's shitty that that's the type of world that we have to live in, that it's so divided even within like small communities, where the color of your skin dictates how people talk and act with you, and how even people of your own think. It's
Yeah.
absolutely mind-boggling.
I will say though, like the skin color thing, in terms of that, like it is kind of like petty and stuff, but like I don't know, like throughout history, people have always kind of like distinguished themselves from other people in many ways, like one of them being culture
Mm.
and stuff like that. So like in terms of that, that has always been a thing that will always be there.
Yeah, but
Like
skin culture. I mean, skin color is not necessarily culture, and vice versa.
yeah, so like the skin color, that's why I say the skin color aspect of it is like very stupid, but like I mean some people like it's like the whole thing with black culture. Like sometimes like we just don't want you playing in it. Like you need to realize like that you are a guest. Like some cultures just like it's not to be taken up and dressed up as like it's not for that. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people in this time just kind of forget that. But at the same time, like I don't know, the internet's not really helping anything. The internet's really helpful, but it's also really harmful, and it has connected us a little too hard. I think personally, and that's why we have some of the problems that we're dealing with. But in other news, like we're very connected in the world, so like we can always know what's going on with the world. But do we really need to know what's going on with all the parts of the world? No, absolutely not.
I think we do.
Like,
I think we should know what's going on in all parts of the world. Like, did you hear how Iran just pledged Antarctica? Pretty much saying that because there's a treaty, right, drawn up by mostly Western nations, pretty much saying that Antarctica is off limits for anyone to like quote unquote colonize or to impede on, even though America and Great Britain obviously have stations there,
yeah,
and you're not allowed to do any military operations like any testing or down there. Iran said, "Yeah, fuck that. I'm going to build a base in Antarctica, and we're gonna use it for scientific and
I'm
research
serious.
purposes." Pretty much putting a big middle finger to mostly the United States. So I like to know what's going on with the world because it gets you better apt and better educated.
Yes, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about why are niggas in UK talking about dude hitting people with chairs in Mississippi?
What?
That's not something that the UKians need to really be discussing. Same, like you know what I'm saying?
Saying what?
There is.
That we be throwing. Damn, they late.
I mean, that was back in the day, but that's just the example that I'm giving. Like, it is on a minuscule level. That is a grand level. That kind of news, that's something that we should always be informed. That's news. That's world news. World news is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about we are connected in the way that, like, people know what's going on in our city right now in other countries. That is too connected.
Oh hell yeah! You want to see what's going on in
It's
France?
like
Snapchat does that.
literally, that's a perfect example. Oh my god, that camera's not even on anymore. It's this one. That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
Look at Snapchat. You can literally just zoom in on people.
Right.
Boom. See what people are doing on a Saturday night.
Right.
On a fucking Saturday night.
I'm gonna look. Okay, I'm gonna go over to shit. I'm gonna go over to Israel.
Girl, fuck Israel. No, don't even do that.
Okay.
Like, let's do Amsterdam. Let's see what's going on in Amsterdam.
Okay. Another
You know, I
one.
bought Hinge again this week, and I set my shit for what's it called, London again.
Damn, Amsterdam is popping right now.
Like,
What's
do
going
you see what I'm
on?
saying?
Let's see what's going on right here.
We'll do a quick thing, quick peek. Under, not Despacito. I'm sick. Okay, Barbie. Oh, that's scary. But do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm over here looking at people's Snapchat stories in Amsterdam.
Oh
I don't
shit.
know any of these people, but I know what these people ate. I know where these people are at. I know where these people are doing. Oh my god, I know this song. Wee wee. No, no. Let's have a kiki. I want to have a kiki. Lock the doors. Type Korean barbecue. It kind of makes me miss Amsterdam. But
Pop, popping,
but
popping.
yeah, you see what I'm saying? There we're connected in a way that we've never been connected before. And I think it's too much. I think it's too much. It's just too much. Like we don't need to know what everyone's doing at the every time, every every day, every hour of the week. Like it we don't need to be that connected. Like we just don't.
The sense of privacy is gone now.
Like yeah. Like and not only that, it's just like I think that's the reason why the world, like when you get on Twitter, the world just seems so monochronic, like monolithic basically, because everyone talks like they're from America.
It's very America
Do you
centric.
see what I'm saying? Like everyone speaks the same online. Like that's why they call it internet speak, because it's not. They think it's not from an origin, even though we know most of internet speak is just black language. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's too much. It's too much. It's just too much, and I just think we need to change that. But anyways, speaking of Black History Month, like let's bring it back to Beyonce and how she is. I think she just broke #1, and I think she's like one of like 9 women who ever charted on country, um, 9 black women who ever charted on country radio charts. Like that's very iconic in that like history's still being made with these girls. Like it's so weird how like people are still changing the game for black people like in 2024. Like we still haven't we still haven't accomplished everything.
Hey, I want Beyonce in pump pump pop emo scene.
That should be very interesting to see.
Take, take that
I
shit
will
off.
say I would really gag. I would gag if the next album was a jazz album.
Jazz.
Like instead of it being the rock album that everyone expects it to be, if it was a jazz album, hilarious.
Should we
But
make an elevator music?
that would be really funny. But yeah, like I don't know, like this whole month, like I definitely do try to make an effort to learn more about Black History and Black History Month, but sometimes it really is hard. How do you usually learn about like history? Do you think that school taught Black history like
Of course not. The American school system is designed to teach you the history they want you to teach. They want you to know.
so how do you find your Black history?
Well, I had to go into college to get just the basis of like black history, black theory and everything. Otherwise that, yeah, I just follow news accounts, history accounts,
Yeah.
and I just, any kind of history tidbit that I see online, I go kind of research it on the back end, make sure it's true, and I get a quick Google search. And honestly, when we're talking about Black American history, you know, I do really want to do my best this year at least because I learned a lot last year about the negatives. All the crap that black Americans and obviously people who are coming in the country, you know, but just their struggles, their woes, and just the inhumane atrocities that occurred, and some of them very much as late as like the 90s. And we like to think that it's only gotten better, but it's only because it's things are now more easily to be uh, recorded. But there was a point in time, not even less than 100 years ago, where black people were still called not even just like harsh words, but still like referred to as animals. You know, to the point where we were being lynched for very much stupid, mundane things. And this is again not even 100 years ago. We talk about you know babies being used as bait, or just being used as inhumane little fun ball games for people of a certain demographic to play around with. Like we were very much used and abused like toys, in all aspects, in every aspects. So this year I want to focus more on the positives. What is some good that black people that I can hold and be like,
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, obviously I do know about the cities and towns that we've desperately tried to build up, only to be
Yeah, like it
broken
wasn't just
down.
Black Wall Street,
Not even just Black Wall Street. It's
like
like
Lakeland here.
a bunch of those areas, and it's
Yep.
crazy to think too,
I mean, it makes sense. It makes
because
sense.
that's how banks, as they say, that's how banks and like a lot of like powerful and like rich corporations even got started. Was a lot of it was based off of stolen land, that not only from what they did to like black people, from also what they stole from the
From the
natives.
natives, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
this is America, girl. Like, for
Right.
me, like, I don't know. Anytime it, I always like to think of blackness as like a diasporic thing. So like for me, anytime I always think about Black History Month, like I sometimes try to think about like other places and other countries and like
Mm.
those aspects, just because like they have they kind of have nuances too. And I know there's people from those countries that are also
Do they celebrate Black History Month over there? Do you think?
it depends on what you're talking about, like because I know the UK has a Black History Month, but I'm not sure about like say like Colombia or like the DR or Haiti. But like I mean, if we're
Why have a
talking,
Black History Month? If your country's majority,
yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like it's like at that time though, like do they really need Black History? Because like
like
that's
like
the
does
thing.
Brazil need really a Black History Month?
They do
The second
because
highest black population.
I think, but they're still like 60% or like 60 or 50.
Yeah, the second highest
So
population of black people in the world versus
outside
Nigeria.
of Africa,
Like, yeah, like how you got more black people in you than majority, if not
because
all but
Portugal
one.
was crazy in the slave
Portugal was
trade.
crazy with it, dude.
Like, and that's what I'm trying to talk about. Like, I
Portugal
really
was
want,
crazy.
I really want like to learn about those stuff and really want to learn like the historic aspects behind those, just because I feel like I don't think people or we as a society talk about slavery like from a capitalistic perspective enough. Like there's a reason why there's a reason why slavery happened,
Yeah.
and it was capitalism. Like
Mhm.
low key,
High key.
like yeah, high
That was
key,
that, that was the exact. I mean, black people were like we
free
were
labor,
we were
profits.
like just in, and like no matter where it was, whether it was in the states, in Haiti, or San Domingo. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Yeah.
San Domingue.
Yeah.
Or that was
Oh.
when there was like one country.
Yeah, but even then, when
Yeah.
slaves everywhere, it was they were a commodified asset to whatever corporation or plantation, if you want to put those two words together, put them all together.
Yup.
You know, so it definitely was. I mean, that's the reason why the South pretty much, try to fucking do shit themselves. Because the North said, hey, man, you gotta chill out with that shit. And they like, well, this is how I make my fucking money. You're not gonna tell me how to make my money.
This is how they make
Oh, by the
profits.
way, did you hear how Brian Kemp just sent some of our National Guard members over to help out with the Texas border along with money?
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
And I'm like, Brian, what the fuck does Georgia gotta do with Texas? Nigga, but we don't even. How the hell they gonna get over here? What the, we not even we on the Atlantic
Oh,
Ocean,
girl, these people, they don't care.
bro. You got governors in like fucking Missouri and shit. Like, bro,
Like, I'm telling you,
what borders are being invaded?
the
People
people in charge, they do not care.
like I'm
They
like so
just,
confused. Like, nigga, what?
they honestly, they just really want to receive. Like, the South just definitely wants to receive from America.
They know they
It's
can't
giving
though.
that. Like,
They know that they can't because it's not easy. That
like,
shit's not easy because you gotta talk about right. You gotta talk about now. Okay, if I'm gonna secede, well, who can I share my border with and who can I not? And then you gotta talk about the people. The people. The average American state carries at least a good 10 million
yeah.
people. You gonna tell 10 million people at least that they can travel to a certain northern state?
Girl, let me know now so I can just move. Because that's what I'll do.
Bro,
I'll just move back to New York.
it'll be full anarchy. And even then though, the president has the right, and even if Biden is comprehensible, to pull out the military.
Like, I mean, they would definitely have to. Like, it would definitely be a civil war.
But it will make no sense. Because why would you want a disassembled society just because we can't get right on how to properly and effectively grant U.S. citizenship to people seeking asylum in this country?
Because these people have little dicks. That's why.
It's not that hard. I mean, immigration is good for a country.
Yeah,
It's
but
how countries evolve and stay alive.
mm,
You diversify a nation.
the reason why I look at immigration differently these days is because I look at the situation in Haiti. Everybody runs from Haiti, and that leads to a brain drain in Haiti. And that means they're all coming to America. So, yeah, while that's good for America, it's terrible for Haiti.
It is.
So, like, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, immigration. Like, if you need to come here, if you want to move where you want to move, I'm very happy about that. But, like, mass exodus, which leads to mass immigration, I'm not necessarily happy for.
I mean, granted, again, those people are leaving because they don't have suitable living conditions back there. So, I mean, if the government of those places can get their shit together to provide at least like a you know a efficient living situation for their people, then yeah, there's gonna be mass immigration. There's gonna be mass exoduses. I'm not gonna stay in the place. Like, as much as I should talk America, at least I know that if I don't like this area of Georgia, I can immigrate to another area, to California. People don't realize that America is about the size of Europe, right?
Yeah.
And the way how our country works government wise is that why we do have a democratic process, we're not a full on democracy. We're
Yeah.
run by elected officials that we don't even elect,
Yeah.
technically. They're elected by their colleagues and electors, right? And then you have federal laws and then you have state laws. You have federal judges and you have state judges. And every state can have their own law, and they don't necessarily have to follow federal law necessarily, right? In some circumstances, right? So, in an essence, each state runs independently like its own country. Whereas when we join to America as a whole, we're seen more so like a continent, North America.
Yeah.
So with that being said, though, I don't understand why immigration is a huge issue for people, because if I'm seeking, you know, a home or asylum in a new place, I should have the right to get up and move to the new place. And if that new place happens to be a country, you know, I want to follow the process to be a citizen. But first, I have to get there. I can't follow for U.S. citizenship if I can't get that resource back at home.
Yeah.
So I need to come here so I can at least build the resource so I can be a U.S. citizen. Now, obviously, there are going to be a few bad apples in the bunch. There's always are, no matter where you go, no matter what context you're talking about. There's
Yeah.
always bad apples. But the bad apples should not represent the majority of why people are coming to this country, is because they see this country unlike how we see it. They see this
Yeah.
country as a safe haven, a land of opportunity, a land where they can build a family, have housing, get a car, live a stable life after worrying about, you know, in certain neighborhoods at least, gunfire. You don't have to worry about at least your government gassing people openly. Sometimes, at least to the extent that some of these countries are coming from.
Yeah, I
To
will
the
say.
extent,
Yeah, but
obviously, doesn't,
I will say the gun violence thing. You can't.
but you
Like
at least you
you
know
can't
that
move to America to run away from gun violence. That's I'm just saying.
that is very, yeah, that in itself is counterintuitive. But at least you know that it's not as a wild wild west for the most part. For the most part,
This is very, very
there's a
dependent.
line.
It's very dependent.
It's a very fine line, but
Like,
very vaguely.
Chirac. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right.
That's all that needs to be said. We deal with this a lot. Depending on where you are, it can be really calm or it could be the Wild Wild West.
Right. So, but see, that's the thing is, we have that matter of choice as opposed to an entire country being
Yeah,
like the Wild Wild West.
but no shade. I think that's just because we're like we're big to almost be our own continent.
We are.
So like that's why like it's so different depending on where you go. Like let's say like a country's in Africa. Like some countries in Africa they're really dangerous,
Mhm.
and some countries in Africa they're completely fine. It
Mhm.
just depends on where you go. But
Mhm.
if Africa was like one whole country, it would almost that would almost be like the same operation as America. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, no, no. And it's funny enough. That's actually what a lot of African officials are trying to do in different countries, is actually build up like a NATO like coalition of all African nations.
They actually did that. That's
Yeah,
actually a thing,
it
but
is a
it's low
thing,
key
but
controlled by France, which is why Haiti was not allowed to join.
that, and also some African officials don't like each other. Some countries just do not like each other.
That's true.
They just they just can't put aside their differences. I don't know what differences is. Granted, I do blame Europeans because you guys did kind of fuck up they built borders and everything. But hey, what it is, whatever. But overall though, yes, no, because like I mean, like, cause think of it like this, right? The distance it would take you to get from here to say like New York, right? That's like about like 16 hours by car.
Yep, exactly.
You take that same distance and you put it over there in Europe. Let's say you do from the UK to whatever.
Yeah,
You're gonna pass through at least a good 5 countries.
yeah,
And it's crazy to think too, because in America, right, when you're driving across another state, you can be in a completely different fucking landscape.
like yeah, like West Coast versus East Coast, like completely different.
Versus the Midwest,
Like
versus the
yeah,
South, versus the North. There is a bunch of climate
yeah,
differences, which furthers kind of inflates how big America is.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. It's very interesting.
like we are definitely operating. Our states are like our countries. We're Georgians.
Would you travel all over America? Like, would you go see every 50 states?
If I had the opportunity to do so, yeah.
I don't know if I'm like interested to see every 50 states.
I mean, there would be some states that I would actually, I don't want to say all 50 states. There would be some states that would be off my list. Mississippi is one of them.
Yep.
Arkansas is one of them.
Alabama.
One of them.
Like, all right. So the only ones that I really want to go to is Washington, Colorado, Texas.
I don't really want to go to Nebraska. What the fuck's in Nebraska? Corn?
Yeah, I think so actually.
Girl, what the fuck am I do with that?
Texas, Arizona,
Hell no.
um, and maybe Illinois. That's really it. That's really it.
Yeah, I would. Well, I already been to Texas. I would visit. I definitely would want to visit Nevada. You know, I definitely want to.
Oh yeah,
I totally want to visit
Nevada.
Nevada.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure, Colorado is on the list. Um, nothing in Oklahoma. Nothing in Kansas. Nothing in Missouri. Sorry, kids. Nothing really in Ohio that I want to go visit. No. I've already been to Michigan. Been to New York. I would want to go see New Hampshire or Vermont, only because of wilderness.
Oh yeah, or Maine. But like
Lobsters.
that's really like it for me. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like
But I feel as though if I'm in Maine, I feel like I'm pretty much in Canada. I might as well go see Canada while I'm
I
in
know,
Maine.
right? But for me, it's like I don't know. Like America, architecture or culture just does not interest me as much. Like I would rather do that shit in Europe. Like if I want to go mountains, like if I want to go skiing, I'd rather go skiing in the Swiss Alps. Like
Well, why don't go? You can go skiing in the Rockies.
yeah, but I want to go skiing in the Swiss Alps. Like it's just more of an aesthetic. You know what I'm saying? If I want to go mountain climbing, or if I want to go hiking, or if I want to go camping, America's great for that. I don't want to do that
I
at
mean,
all.
we have ski slopes that have
We
Alps
do,
though.
we do, but the Swiss Alps have them better.
Is it because of location?
Yeah, like
Okay.
it's location, it's vibes, it's aesthetic, like it's the whole thing. Like you know what I mean? Like you have to, I don't know how to explain it. You have to go to these villages where it literally looks like when you go like to like the Swiss Alps or like the Swiss mountains, the villages they really do look like cabins and logs and like this is literally like all they do year round. Versus like where in America, like I mean it might look like that, but at the same time, like these cities are like 500 years old. They've been doing this. They have this system going like that. Whereas America, that layout is 5 years old. So you know, I'm just trying to say like they know what they're doing over there. They know what they're doing over there. America don't know what it's got going on. Like but yeah, that's why I would definitely like. I just enjoy certain things in Europe more than I do in America. Like, funny enough, when I went to the amusement park in France, that was fun. It was. I'm not an amusement park girl. I'll just say that
I
I'm not
love
an
amusement
amusement park
parks.
girl. But it was so much fun saying that I got to go to an amusement park in France. Like, they just do things differently. Like, it's just there's just something about them. But I will say America does have like America has culture down. Like I don't know. I guess in replacement for architecture, we just decided to become cultural architects. Like
Yeah, man, the food. I ain't gonna lie. The one thing I love about America is how much of a mixing pot we are. There is all types of ethnic foods and different nationality type based foods, and it's just so
yes,
amazing.
yes.
Comparison to, sorry for my UK girlies, I have to come out to you guys a little bit. In comparison to like Chinese or Indian restaurants in like the UK, seeing the type of food that they people eat, I'm like, oh my god, no offense, my
Okay, for the
god.
Indian one, I can't really say anything because I haven't had Indian food in the UK. But like the way that theirs looks is like supposed to be formed around like their environment, like the people over there.
Yeah, exactly.
So like that's the
Bland.
reason why. Like I remember I watched this girl on YouTube. She lives in Atlanta and she was talking about like how she can't find good Chinese food here and it's just gross and stuff like that. And I was like, girl, first of all, me as a New Yorker,
There was
same.
a
Like I can't find good Chinese here either. But in New York, Like it's a vibe. It's good. But one of the things that they were saying is like, oh, they just can't see themselves living in New York. And I'm just like, look, let me tell you, especially for all the European people, let's just get this out right now. New York is as close. No, it's the closest thing that you're gonna get to a European city in America, ever. Point blank. Period. The way that it works, the way that it functions, the way that it moves, it's a European city by that standard. If you cannot find happiness in New York, you're not gonna find happiness anywhere else. And I'm just talking about like from Europeans like that kind of want like some type of aspect of their life from the old world back. If you want to come over here and you want to experience America for what America is, come on down, find yourself a city, go there, see what it is. If you want aspects of your old life, if you want aspects of the old world, if you can't find it in New York, you're not gonna find it anywhere else.
What part of New York though?
New York City.
Like, so you want to go to the boroughs?
Yes, if you're like, especially if you're from a European country, if you want a European country status in America, you're only gonna find it in New York. New York's the only one that functions that way. Like, let's say if you want to
Man,
get
Danish
a,
person going to the Bronx. You setting
just
him
don't
up.
go to the Bronx, y'all.
You setting him up for failure.
Just don't go to the Bronx unless you're like one of those British Hispanic people that I keep seeing now on my TikTok. Unless you're one of those people, you'll be able to fit in just because you're Hispanic. If you are a black European person, you'll be able to fit in because you're black. If you're a white European person, stick to money making Manhattan or Brooklyn, and just and
So not all
you know
the
what I'm saying?
boroughs, just two
Yeah,
out
at
of
least
the
for the white
five.
Europeans. Like the rest of them, the rest of y'all can figure it out. Y'all can get stuff placed. But like the white people, like I said, whiteness is like it's the same everywhere, basically, almost like that same opportunistic kind of vibe situation going down. They're not ready for the city.
Man, they say you can be anything you want in New York City.
If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. But that's actually, let's call it time there. I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to get the podcast to at least from an hour 30 max, maybe hour 45 to like an hour 10 kind of time period. So this was like perfect conversation. It's the one that we needed to have. I think next time we need to discuss, I don't know, we need to discuss interracial dating and the history of civil rights. And you are the perfect, you are the perfect person to talk about that. But we'll let that be next week's.
Careful.
Like that should be interesting. But
I'm way too aware for you.
you know, I had fun. Thank you so much for coming. Where can the people find you?
As always, you can find me on Instagram at breathe.bear1000. And, you can always find me around.
Yeah, y'all know where to find me as always. We're gonna need to find a new home for the Culture Corner because it can't stay on my channel. I learned that last week when Beyonce came out with freaking those two songs, and I was like, I have to release a reaction to this. But then I was like, but I have to post the podcast. But then I was like, which one do I post? Which one do I post? Which one do I post? And I'm just realizing that like the way that my channel's going and the way that this podcast is going, it just makes more sense to have two channels. So we're gonna build a second channel. Now, first of all, we got editor me who has to edit the last podcast. And now we have manager me who has to make a freaking YouTube page for this channel again.
Damn.
I got to do a photo shoot so I can actually have an official cover page so I can actually post this on Spotify and or Apple Music and Tidal, all streaming platforms. Like, I have to model. Who's going to do it? I have to edit. I have to direct this photo shoot. Like, let me tell you, the life of a creator is insane. But let me tell you, I'm racking up, just like Beyonce, I'm racking this shit up. Director, me. Editor, me. Photographer, me. Host, me. Presenter, me. Producer, me. All me, baby. Literally, me. But I'm getting off topic. We will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. If you see this If you're listening to this on a streaming platform, give us 5 stars. We need it. I love it. I love y'all. And we'll see you on the next one.
All right, peace out.
Uh, and with that,